Christina Root with Hawkins and Root Real Estate, and I also am of Christina Root of the Root team with my husband Kentley, and we sell real estate here in Lawrence County, Indiana. So wanted to do a quick video for some of my friends in regards to what is the buyer exclusive agency that I am being asked to sign as a buyer, and just put some info out there, because for some buyers it's very confusing and there's not a lot out there. So I just kind of wanted to put this out there and maybe clear up some questions that you might have if you're a buyer or someone that may be buying a house eventually, or maybe you've just heard about it and you want to know what's going on. That's why I'm doing this, is to help educate, because in 2025 I have made it my personal mission to help educate others on real estate, to help you make the most informed decisions ever if you're buying and selling, because I'm telling you what, this is typically one of the biggest transactions you will ever do. So it is absolutely imperative that you are informed, and that not only that, but that your realtor is very educated and informed. And I don't use the word experience, because you know what, I don't care if you've been in real estate 20 years or if you've been in real estate 2 years. If you are educated and you know what you're doing, then you can definitely help guide your clients through every step of the process seamlessly. So let's talk about what is this buyer agency agreement. And all that it is just an agreement between the real estate professional and the buyer that outlines the services that are being done, and it also spells out what your real estate professional, your realtor, is going to be paid. Why are you being asked to sign this? Well, if you've ever heard of, which you probably haven't, the Sitzer-Burnett verdict of 2023, that is why we're why we are doing this. It actually became a nationwide requirement for all members of the National Association of Realtors as of August 17th, 2024. Gosh, I sound like I'm throwing all this stuff out there. A lot of info at once. But anyhow, are these new? No, they've actually, well, in some places, yes, but buyer agency agreements have been around for a long time, but there has been some changes made to them, and it wasn't, really a thing that was absolutely a requirement. Now, by law, it is. If you want to tour a home, we have to have you sign one of these before we can even take you in the home. So, are these agreements negotiable? Well, yes. So when you look on locally, the buyer agency exclusive agency agreement, we have folks sign like page 1. It has your commencement date, like how long is this going to last for, the term. That's negotiable. I mean, if this is an agent that, sometimes I had one person say, hey, like, you're the only realtor that I'm going to use. Like, I'm afraid to buy a house without you. So just make it, for a longer term. So I did, a longer term on that one. But if it's someone that's, I do not know, and let's say they call me and they want to see one of my listings or something like that, I'm probably, I don't know them and they don't know me, and I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable or anything like that. So I always tell people, if you want, I can just make it for this home, this particular house, and show you this. But if you decide you want me to show you other homes, I can make it a wider scope, and do any home in Lawrence or Monroe County, or a residential 3-bed, 2-bath, whatever, we can set the parameters around that. But a residential property in Lawrence County, Monroe County, whatever counties you're looking in. And also, I can set the scope as to what we're looking for. We can, which you have to put something there, kind of spell out what you're looking for, residential, commercial properties, whatever. I can set the amount of time that I want to be in contract with this, with my realtor. And, like I said, it might be a shorter term, or just maybe like in the scope for one property. If this is someone that does not know me, I don't know them, but they want me to show them this house, then I can just make it for that one property. And then you can always do an amendment if they want to see other homes. And some people just say, you know what, I feel totally, comfortable. Let's just go ahead and make it for whatever, a few months, and see if we can find what I'm looking for. So anyhow, those things can be negotiated. Also, as far as the compensation between you and your real estate professional, that is negotiable. Commission is not set by law. And one thing is very factual on those. The compensation has to be spelled out. It cannot be left just like totally ambiguous. It has to be spelled out as to what they will be paid, and not an open-ended range or anything like that. So how do I benefit from these agreements? So they clearly lay out the services that you as a home buyer can expect from your real estate professional. And also it tells you what they're going to be paid. These agreements make it clear, and they reduce any potential confusion at the outset of the relationship with your realtor, so that you don't run into any kind of, like, oh, I didn't realize this. Like, that's the nice part for me as a realtor is just to be able to say, like, this is, I find myself like now saying, hey, I want you to come by the office so I can really explain everything to you. Communication is key. It's very important that you are, that you fully understand what you're signing, and that, your realtor's able to articulate all of that to you, so that you're both on the same page. And this agreement definitely helps because everything is sort of spelled out. Does it mean that I have to pay my realtor out of my pocket? Well, no, not necessarily. While you are responsible for, paying your real estate agent, professional, whatever we want to call or to say in this video, as outlined in your agreement, you can still request that your realtor be paid on your purchase agreement by the seller. So like if I'm putting in an offer today, I can definitely say, like have my agent write in seller to pay my buyer broker compensation in whatever amount or percentage that we have agreed to on my buyer exclusive agency agreement. And that buyer exclusive agency agreement says that we're going to try to get, that we will try to get the seller to cover that. In the past, you probably know, when you went to list a home, it was just a little bit different. And like if I listed your home, out of that commission, we would pay the buyer's agent at closing. And so that's not the way it is anymore. We've gone through in 2024 what's called the decoupling of commissions. So they're not all packaged together now. So you might see, is it still often a lot the same way at closing in the end, in that the seller still many times will be paying not only their compensation, but also the buyer broker compensation? Yes, that can still very likely be the case if the seller is willing to do that, and if it is negotiated in on a purchase agreement. Let's just say buyers show up to the closing table as it is, having to, oftentimes come up with a down payment, or come up, unless they're doing like a USDA loan, which is 100% financing, or if they're doing a VA loan, which can also be 100% financing. If they're doing FHA, that's 3.5% down. That's not something you can ask the seller to pay, but you can always ask the seller to pay your closing cost. That's totally something separate. So anyhow, this is something, sorry about that, my phone rang and I got a little bit sideways, so let me get my thoughts back here. But this is something that can be negotiated into a purchase agreement if, it's just all negotiation between your realtor is going to try to negotiate that for you, or maybe you're a buyer paying cash and you're just like, you know what, I'll just pay that myself because it's cash, so it doesn't really make much difference. But in any other circumstance, most of the time you're going to see that negotiated. If you're asking the seller to pay that, it needs to be, on a purchase agreement. It's not something that's being set, necessarily before. I mean, we can't even put that in the MLS anymore. Whatever a seller's offering cannot be in the MLS for, as far as that compensation. They want to see that be a negotiation, and there are no set commissions. Like I said, every realtor is going to have their own set fees that they charge, or every brokerage. And so there's no like one set commission across the board. There never was. So, anyhow, let's see. Can I change or exit the agreement? Yes, you and your realtor, if there's a problem, you get into, you sign a buyer exclusive agency agreement and there's a problem, or you're like, I've had some people say, I didn't even realize what I signed. Well, you need to read what you're signing, or if you don't know what you're signing, please ask your realtor to explain that to you. and make sure that they understand, because most realtors are going to be able to. We have a lot of very knowledgeable realtors in this town that are definitely well educated and going to be able to explain that. I know at our office, we've been working on this from the beginning of last year to make sure that everybody knew how to operate around this, and so that we knew that we're doing things the right way. And I know many other offices have as well. So it's something that I think all realtors are trying to, assimilate to the changes and trying to best let everybody know all of those changes. And, you have to give a little bit of grace from time to time, because, it's still a little bit new for some, but at this point, I feel like we've been doing it so much that we're good now. So anyhow, yes, you could always do a mutual release though. If there's a problem with your realtor and you are not happy, or there's some situation, yes, you could talk to your realtor, and technically you and your real estate professional could mutually agree to change your agreement. And there are, specific conditions which can be, can play into all of that stuff as well. So it's just important to read your agreement, understand your agreement. Your realtor can help explain that to you. And hopefully if you've bought a house, in the last year, your realtor's had that conversation with you, and you knew what, you understand it, and this is all old news to you. But for those that are still asking, and not real sure about the changes, I just wanted to do this video to help you. And if there's anything that you have any questions on, feel free to ask. I feel like most realtors would be able to answer any questions. I locally serve as the MLS chair for the Bedford board, so I've really tried to stay on top of all this, so that if someone, like another realtor, calls and asks me a question, I can answer it correctly. So excuse me. You all have a wonderful day. And if there's anything we can do, give us a call. Thanks.